So if you're a parent, you'll relate to this. New parents treasure all the tiny moments, the first steps, the first words, laughter, even the tears. But when you notice your child doesn't seem to react like other children, imagine getting a diagnosis then that your child is autistic. Where would you turn? What would you do? That's what happened to a Dallas mother, Dr. Rhonda Brown-Crowder, who turned her questions and fear into a book to help others. And this morning she joins me with All Roads Lead to Love. And I'm going to talk about the name of the book a little bit later, why you named it that. But first of all, Caleb is your son.
Yes,
so talk about when you realized that Caleb, what did you notice that it was like, this is a little different?
Well, when Caleb was born, he was developing just like any mainstream child. And he was laughing and happy and healthy and just always getting into things, very, very rambunctious. And probably at about the age of about 18 months to 1 year, he started changing gradually. He started changing and he became less vocal, much less energetic, outgoing, till it got to the point where his language basically disappeared.
I'm just looking at the video of him.
Oh, yes.
And the parent is looking at that, thinking of him just as a little kid, so cute. So when did you get an autism diagnosis? And do you remember what you felt when you got that?
Well, he, after we got, it was at the point where we realized that his language was diminishing. And so we reached out to the school district and had participated in the early intervention program at about the age, a little over the age of 3. And so we went through a series of testing and diagnosis, and we realized at that time he was diagnosed with autism and a speech impairment. It was after he started to lose his language that we realized something wasn't right. We didn't want to think that it was autism, really didn't know much about autism, but in the back of our minds, my husband and I, we suspected that that might be the case. So when it got to the point where his language was pretty much gone, you know, from where it was before, we were like, okay, we need to get this checked out.
So when you said you didn't know much about autism, that's why you ended up writing the book, right? Is for other parents. So can you talk about what you didn't know, the kinds of things that you had no idea what to do about?
Yes. Well, I first want to say, Jane, that whenever we received the autism diagnosis, even though we suspected that that might be the case, but that was probably one of the most devastating times I think that I've ever experienced in my life, to have a child that you have all these hopes and dreams for and all of these great plans for, and to realize that their life is going to be very different. And then, as I said, you know, I really didn't have any knowledge about autism at all, really, I didn't. And so at the point when he started pre-K, thankfully God brought some wonderful people into my life. His pre-K teacher, Miss Janetta White Knight and Miss Lynette Stewart. These are people that I leaned on that were so knowledgeable about autism and about the things that related to autism services. I had no idea where to start, what kind of services he needed. I just felt so helpless. I'm like, how am I going to help this child? It was just a very helpless feeling to know how I was going to be able to help him. And
you know, when you were talking about your hopes and dreams for your child and realizing that it would be different from what you thought it would be, that just really touches my heart, and I know the heart of any parent. Now, you say that there have been hard times. There have also been joyful times because of Caleb being who Caleb is.
Yes. That is absolutely correct. The hard times are, you know, just trying to get people to realize that, to look beyond our children based on their disabilities, to realize that they are people, that they love life, they want to be treated with respect and dignity, they want to feel valued and loved and accepted, and oftentimes that doesn't happen. And so as a parent, you know, we want that for our child the most, for people to see our children in the way that we see them. And so I think that's probably the biggest challenge, in addition to trying to get services for them, trying to get help for them. Currently in the state of Texas, we have a wait list that is 14 to 16 years behind for our children to receive disability services. So you can imagine the weight of the responsibility and the pressure that falls on us to be able to get help and services for our children. But then there are times, you know, the joy of it is that you get to see life in a way that you never imagined. You get to see life through your child's eyes. Their love is unconditional. Whenever Caleb takes my face and puts his hands on my face like this, or he wants to do Eskimo kisses, to let me know that he loves me, that's priceless. There's nothing that you can pay to be able to have something like that. And it just helps you to see life in a way that I would have never seen it before, Caleb.
Wow, what a gift.
Yes.
And is that why the book is called All Roads Lead to Love?
Yes, in part. I would say that I guess the main message is our lives are hard as special needs parents. It's difficult. Every day is difficult. Every day is challenging. We have things some problems we can solve for our kids, some we cannot, but we always strive to do that. And at the end of the day, no matter what we're faced with, we have to always remember the love. We have to always hold on to the love. And that is really what fuels us to continue to keep going, to keep hoping, to keep dreaming for our children, and really to keep pushing for them for those times where we want to give up the most. Because there are those times, where you're like, I just don't know if I can do this anymore. And then Caleb comes and gives me a kiss, or he does the Eskimo kisses, or yes, and I'm like, okay, I can go a little bit further. So yes.
So you've touched my heart this morning. Where can people find your book?
Actually, my book is available on Amazon. It's also available at Barnes & Noble, Goodreads, and anywhere books are sold. They can go and purchase it there.
Thank you so much for sharing your story this morning and for sharing what a beautiful person you are. We'll be right back.
Thank you.